Laipply podcast.
I never had, period, full stop. I would be lying to you, and I won't lie to you, as it relates to the direct engagement I had with Joe Biden that ever suggested a cognitive decline. This president appears unhinged, unmoored by reality and facts, seems listless. He seems, dare I say, in decline, cognitively and, dare I say, forgive me, perhaps unfair, physically.
But this is not about me. This is about all of us. And about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. And a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law.
In Britain, I kid you not, how can this be real? They are releasing convicted pedophiles from prison in order to put people in prison for Facebook posts. There were, and I'm simply stating a fact, there were migrant rape gangs in England that would run around and prey on young girls, gang rape them, and some people found that objectionable, which obviously it should be objectionable, and they were upset about that, and so they complained about it online and were sent to prison. That sounds crazy.
So yeah, here we go again. All the I'd never support Trump or anyone who supports Trump crowd is about to have a full-blown identity crisis. Why? Do pray tell. That privately funded list just came out. And guess who's helped funding that new White House ballroom? Still not your tax dollars. No. Some of your favorite brands. Let's start with Apple. Yeah, that device that you're probably watching this on. The same one that you post Trump as a fascist from. I hate to tell you, you just made a campaign donation with Face ID. Better chuck that iPhone and grab a flip phone, Patriot. Salute! Comcast, time to unplug. No Netflix, no Hulu. Just sit there and stare at a blank screen and think about your life choices. You okay over there? Google, you better not Google how to cancel Prime, because congrats, you just supported Trump twice. Why? Because guess who's next? Amazon. Yeah, that same place that you order your fake ass eyelashes and that live, laugh, love sign that you definitely don't live, laugh, or love by. You better delete Prime, sweet cheeks. Guess it's back to waiting in line at Walmart like the rest of us peasants, since you're on your iOS and all, you know. Bougie. HP. Hope you didn't print that no hate in my state sign on an HP printer. That's basically a GOP ATM now. Time to handwrite your protest in crayon, champ. Lockheed Martin. You scream defund the military and now your defense contractors out here buying chandeliers for said ballroom. You're basically sponsoring the next Marine Corps ball, my friend. Meta. That orange man bad meme you posted? It's hanging on the wall in the new ballroom. Doing the cha-cha. Delete your account because you're more than likely watching this on a Meta platform and boosting this post at the same time just by watching. Microsoft. Word, Teams, Outlook, all of it. It's basically Microsoft now. Dust off that typewriter and live your truth. And lastly, T-Mobile. Every pink phone and text trash and Trump, yeah, you just pay for the drywall. If you're serious about not supporting Trump or anyone who supports Trump, start packing. Unplug, unfollow, uninstall. You're moving to the woods with a rotary phone and 2 pigeons. Have a good one.
I have to be honest, I have never felt so unsafe in this city. A few months ago at our bar, there's a group of people that will descend. We have to shut down all the time. 45 people. 2 women in the group started breaking glass in our bar, stabbing each other. Our bartender called us. We pulled up the security cameras live. She was screaming. Blood splattered on the security cameras. The police came, no name was taken, no report, no accountability. And it's not an isolated incident. We've had people that have been 86, they come back with guns in hand, standing a foot off of our sidewalk for hours every single weekend. Every single weekend. Our staff is terrified. We've endured break-ins, vandalism. We've been held up by gunpoint. And it feels like no one is coming. What is going to happen? How is this acceptable? We need more trained police officers. We need them, like a ton. We are small business owners. We are the heartbeat of Portland, and we are hanging on by a thread. Everybody's leaving. I'm like, where are you going? We're leaving Portland. We're out of here. This is seriously life or death for our employees, for our customers, for my family. This is not politics. This is an emergency. We are out of time. We needed help yesterday.
Thank you all for being here at Treasury today in the midst of this shutdown. We call on the moderate Democrats in the Senate to be heroes. Be heroes. Break away from the hive of radicalism and do something for the American people, because we are starting to cut into muscle here. We believe that the shutdown may start costing the U.S. economy up to $15 billion a day, and this is a decision the Democrats are making. And one of the reasons that they are not being held to task is because the mainstream media is not coming at them the way they would have if the Republicans were willing to keep the government closed. It is a very simple decision. Mike Johnson passed a clean CR. Leader Thune has the clean CR. 3 Democrats have voted for it, and right here, right now, I am calling for the moderate Democrats to be heroes, and reopen the government for the American people.
The bottom line is the markets are responding not because they think inflation is going up, but because they believe, as we know is true, that inflation is headed in the right trajectory. And here's what I would like to say about that, that if you go back and look at the history of the Biden administration, then what people are going to say is that Biden's runaway deficits caused the biggest inflation spike basically we had since the 70s. There's no dispute about that, really. Well, why is inflation going down now? Well, it's because President Trump's policies are set. We just did the calculation to reduce the deficit by $600 billion this year alone. And that's because we've got Laffer curve effects, so tax revenue is up about $200 billion. We've cut discretionary spending already this year by about $200 billion, and we've got the tariff revenue. And so we're doing the exact opposite of what Biden did to feed inflation. And so, of course, inflation's going down.
Okay,
that's the only way it could go.
Here's our late but coming out September read on the Consumer Price Index. Headline number up 0.3, 1/10 cooler than both rearview mirror and what we were expecting. And if we look at the stripping out of food and energy known as core, it comes in also a bit less than expected, up 0.2. We were expecting up 0.3. Our last look was up 0.3. Here's the Moneyball numbers. Year over year, 3%. And even though it's less than the 3.1 we were expecting, it's hotter than 2.9. And after all, it's got a 3 handle. And if we look at CPI year over year ex food and energy, it also comes in at 3%. We're also expecting 3.1, but last look was 3.1, so it cooled a bit. So we're seeing interest rates move down and stocks move up.
When you look at Elon Musk, he seems like insane and chaotic from the outside. Why does he have the Boring Company? That doesn't make any sense. He's drilling all these tunnels underground. Why would he do that? Well, if he wants to go to Mars, humans aren't going to live on the surface of Mars. They're going to live underground. So you're going to have to build massive tunnel complexes underground. Well, why does he have a solar company? He's going to have to be pretty good at building power plants. Right? So why don't you build large solar fields? Because there's no real estate problems on Mars. So you can build like a 5-mile solar field on Mars if you wanted. Why is he building a robotics company? Why does he have all these Tesla bots? You're not going to have 5 million humans show up overnight, but you can ship millions of robots ahead of time and use them as your labor force to help build up everything, and they don't need atmosphere or any of these other things. Why does he have an AI company? Well, you need some sort of intelligence to coordinate and run and terraform the planet. Why does he need a battery power car company? Because you're not going to be running internal combustion engines. There's no fossil fuels to consume on Mars, so you need battery power cars to be able to drive them around. So it's actually coherent when you see that entire framework. He wrote it all down while high and drunk, and he's like, this makes so much sense. I'm so smart.
Do you ever question yourself?
Why did I send Colin Powell to the UN with a weapon of mass deception in a vial when I knew Iraq had oil but no WMDs?
Did I help bomb Libya and kill Gaddafi to bury proof that it bankrolled my presidential campaign?
Did I promote COVID jabs because I set up a 35 billion euro cash injection through a secret deal with Pfizer?
Who was actually running the country when I could barely walk and remember my own name.
Whose businesses did I pay off when I told Ukrainians to keep fighting and dying when they had a peace deal on the table?
Why did I keep my Nobel Peace Prize even after bombing 7 countries during my presidency? Because, yes, I can.
The truth is that we never actually question any of this.
And we're only doing it now
because RT generated this video and made us say so.
While RT has been asking such questions for 20 years.
Friday night, Applebee's night, Steak and Shake night, short show night. Hope everybody's ready. Hope everybody's doing good. Also be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me say to everybody in the chat, JD Joy is on. Christopher Arnott is on. Let me see here. Robin Aroni's on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Richard Perry, 49, is on. Tim L. T-Bird is on. Conservative Warrior, 65, is on. Mike Griffith is on. 1961 Kid is on. Waterline 46 is on. Just Fact is on. K4 VMS is on. Deb New 2011 is on. Supergirl 21 is on. Guitar Glenn is on. Sunwoo 45 is on. Jeannie Malfeasy is on. Golf Master 1 is on. Arcadia Angel is on. Linesmanson is on. Gloyd Shaw is on. Sexy Pony is on. Veronica 18201 is on. Simple 73 is on. Agravane is on. The Great T1AU is on. K4 VMS is on. Granite 2468 is on. Waterline 46 is on. Peg McGroin is on. Granite 2468 is on. Judy Anita is on. Let me grab a couple more here. LA 106 Times is on. Uncle Wally is on. Trevman is on. Sheila K is on. Big Jim Go Blue is on. Conservative Waffle is on. TJT1 is on. Let me grab a couple more here I can find. Let me see here. DC 941 is on. One more. Michelle Tal is on. Appreciate you guys. Love each and every one of you. Tonight is just kind of me fantasizing about what the country would be like if Trump was actually able to do things without Democrats in the way. So let's start off by making fun of Democrats and attacking Democrats, because that's, of course, is exactly what they deserve. Let's go to the first one now. This is on the CDL campaign that I'm on right now, where you have Gavin Newsom basically inflicting the country with a bunch of foreign-speaking, unable to read signs, semi-truck drivers. I don't know what the average semi-truck weighs. Driving down the road at, I don't know how many tons, 20 tons, driving down the road, whatever it is, 10 tons, driving down the road, not to mention their payload. And Gavin Newsom is issuing thousands and thousands of these licenses, and these licenses are actually governed by federal statute, United States statute, and Gavin Newsom is violating federal law by issuing them, which means he needs to be federally prosecuted. All right, and wokeness video, short video. Jaw-dropping. California Governor Gavin Newsom gave, how many CDLs do you think he's issued? Anybody guess? 62,000.
Oh, my God.
CDLs to illegals. Give me an illegal, Aaron.
Illegal?
To illegals. Not just CDLs. CDLs to illegals. Play it for me.
A federal audit found California had issued 62,000 CDLs to drivers who entered illegally, John, or do not have a permanent legal status as required by the feds. California sanctuary laws prohibit asking applicants their immigration status. Governor Newsom said there's not a problem. Back to you.
Did I hear you right? Did you say 62,000?
That's correct.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a federal audit.
William Lash.
So there you go. 62,000 CDL driver's licenses to people who are first illegal. There are drivers, now that's CDLs to illegals, not CDLs to foreign-born drivers. It is to illegal aliens. They can't speak the language. They can't read the signs. And we've shown the videos. I'm going to show it one more time, the video of the latest crash in Gavin Newsom's California where a CDL driver was driving the semi and killed 3 Californians. But does Gavin Newsom give a crap? Absolutely not. Wall Street Abe's video, here it is, straight from the top. Straight from California's Highway Patrol. Gavin Newsom has instructed the CHP. Gavin Newsom has instructed the CHP to ignore federal law. Play it for me.
Quick question for you: Are they making you guys comply with like the English proficiency? They're not making you guys? No.
Not here in California. Yeah. So here in California, we're not enforcing it.
Did they talk to you guys about it or anything? Or?
Yeah, they said don't enforce it.
They said specifically don't enforce it.
Don't enforce it. Yeah, because this is kind of top down. So California, we don't enforce that rule.
Yeah.
It could change anytime.
Yeah.
But as of right now, we're not enforcing the English.
Yeah. Well, I saw they kept the $40 million federal funds from like the highway stuff, and I thought maybe they might have like caved or something, but I guess not. No. Are you guys running into a lot of those drivers, like where they just you can't communicate with them? How do you guys do your inspections?
If we're trying to do level 1 with them, if they can't understand our instructions, and we just do a level 2, which is pretty much level 2, which is pretty much just we're just checking paperwork, doing a walk around, and that's it. We're just going to let you out.
Oh, really? Wow.
Well, it's because because we're underneath the truck, and then you're over here like fidgeting with the key and all this stuff. It's kind of like
it's dangerous.
Don't touch the keys, right?
Yeah.
You go back under, and then we're over touching the keys again. It's kind of like, all right, you know what? That's too dangerous. That's too dangerous for me, right? That's a safety concern, right? So it's kind of like, you know, I'm not gonna crawl underneath the truck if you're not understanding my instructions.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Okay. Well, I appreciate your help, man. You have a good night.
So here, of course, is the reality again. 62,000 CDLs were issued to illegal aliens. Not just people who failed the CDL test. Who knows how many CDL licenses have been issued to foreign-born drivers that are here on a worker's permit or a green card or have legally migrated into the country because Gavin Newsom doesn't give a crap. These people are unable to read our street signs. I mean, that's why we wonder. Here, Eric Doherty video. Here's why crashes like this happen. Play it for me.
Exclusive dash cam video, which is now the subject of several law enforcement investigations. It shows the moment a red semi-truck plowed into a number of vehicles on the westbound 10 freeway in Ontario just after 1 p.m. yesterday. The CHP told the LA Times the driver of this big rig is a 21-year-old man who is now under arrest on suspicion of driving under the influence of drugs. A total of 4 semis were involved and also 4 passenger vehicles, one of them exploding in flames. 3 people were killed and 4 others were taken to local hospitals. This horrific crash happened just east of the 15 freeway and shut down all westbound lanes for more than 12 hours. Thousands of drivers were trapped in the gridlock just as the evening commute was getting underway. It's also near...
And that very night, Gavin Newsom, right when this is happening, and it happened, slept like a baby at night. That's what it means to be a Democrat. I hope there's Democrats that are watching right now because this is your party. You kill people. The theme of this show tonight is what would the country be like if we weren't obstructed by Democrats? Well, these three people would be alive right now. Because I hate to tell you this, but American truck drivers don't do this. Now, listen, I'm not saying that American truck drivers don't get into accidents. They do, but they don't run full speed into traffic. Who does? People who have no idea what the laws are. Look at that. As I said last night on the podcast, that looks like a scene out of downtown Beirut with missile fire. And Gavin Newsom slept like a baby at night, and he's the one who caused this to happen. He's the one that caused this to happen right here. I mean, there's 62,000 CDLs were issued to illegal drivers, illegal semi-truck drivers. They have no idea what they're doing. And Gavin Newsom doesn't care because he's not on the freeways. He's flying around in private jets and private helicopters as he espouses for climate change legislation. All right, let's go to the next one. All over Democrats. Red Wave press video. Here's Brett Baer. This is a couple days old, but I just have to show it. And you've probably seen it. I mean, Alex Jones went over it ad nauseum, but I just have to do it. Red Wave press video. Brett Baer. Well, you have this effort to track ICE. If you're a Democrat, you're now going to track federal law enforcement. Play it for me.
Well, you have this effort to track ICE. The Illinois Accountability Commission announced today to create this public record of federal law enforcement agents, determines how to collect testimony, hold hearings, interview individuals, record what could be used to pursue justice and accountability on them, right?
Yes.
So what do you say to the people who look at that and say, you know, ICE is taking bad guys off the streets of Chicago?
Listen, it's great. Go get Tren de Aragua. That's not what happened. Remember, they attacked a building with 130 people in it, and they got a couple of gang members. That's what you ought to do, by the way. Go after them, not the 130 people. Instead, they took everybody out of the building. They zip-tied the kids. They took some of the seniors and put them into U-Hauls for hours, and many of them U.S. citizens legally in this country, others, and they instead detained, I mean, literally dozens and dozens of people for hours. That is not the way you do law enforcement.
You know, if that actually happened, I'm assuming there'd be pictures all over the place.
Yeah.
Aaron, you spent 4 hours today on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you see any?
I saw none.
I mean, neither. I've seen none either, and I spend hours and hours on Twitter every day, and I look at both sides of the aisle. So let's just sum up this attack by ICE. Attack by ICE, according to, Fat Boy Pritzker there. he summarizes, he describes a ICE raid as an attack on a building. And these people claim they're not the ones that are instigating violence, as violence has gone up 800% on ICE agents, maybe higher now because that's an old stat. So what I would love to see this, I'd love to see, now if there was literally this attack on this building with 103 people in it, I'm assuming that somebody in there would be taking pictures, but not one pic of the elderly in the U-Haul. Not one pic of the zip-tied kids. And by the way, that's very standard. So imagine this. So what J.B. Pritzker is advocating is that you don't actually do a raid on the building. You somehow sit outside of it and wait for the individuals to walk out. That's what you do. I guess Fat Boy has never actually done any real work in his life because he hasn't until he was actually kicked out of his own family business for incompetence, which is a fact, by the way. And then so he goes from incompetence to politics. Absolutely perfect transition. So this attack on this building is standard law enforcement. You go in there and you detain everybody in sight, make sure that everybody's safe, and then you arrest the people you're going after. That's standard, by the way. And this constant, kids are detained. The big mantra of the left now is that only people being deported are brown people. That's completely wrong. It's got nothing to do with brown people. It has to do with illegal status. That's it. It really is. And this is all just, it's very simplistic to call it all lies, but it's more than lies. It's gaslit, agenda-driven propaganda so that they can reach a desired end. That desired end is ICE agents being killed. That is what J.B. Pritzker wants. There's no other way. There's no other way to describe what he's saying other than J.B. Pritzker wants ICE agents to be attacked and killed. That is a fact. When you're saying they're attacking a building, did they shoot their guns? I mean, were there any actual physical arrests of any kind? Were punches thrown? The only people that are being assaulted are the ICE agents themselves because the people feel licensed to do so via the rhetoric of J.B. Pritzker. And so they've created this Illinois Accountability Commission, not for the amount of murders in Chicago, not accountability for criminals, but accountability for ICE agents. Doing what? Explain to me. Again, show me on a pie chart. Show me on a graph where ICE is out of line. Show it to me. Show me all these deportations of American citizens. Imagine what it'd be. And I know I talk about this all the time, but I just can't understand what it's like to every day go out and espouse lies. And you know you're lying. You think that by your lies, you're going to get some sort of desired outcome. The only outcome you will get from lies is what? Lies. Because whatever you put in the ground is coming up because God is not mocked. Whatever man sows, that shall he also reap. So they were creating this Illinois Accountability Commission to keep ICE accountable for doing what? What are they doing that's illegal? Well, they're masked. That's because you're creating Illinois Accountability Commission so that you can dox them at their homes. So you can track them everywhere. All right, let's go to the next one. Post-millennial tweet. So, hey, E.T. is back. Beetlejuice is back. The post-millennial disgraced ex-Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot. In case you thought that Brandon Johnson, I was going to say Brandon Johnson, he is worse. He's worse than Lori Lightfoot. He's absolutely horrible. So, they're tied for the worst of all time in all mayorships around the country. But disgraced ex-Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot creates ICE Accountability Project. So we have Illinois Accountability Commission to track ICE agents and their movements. ICE Accountability Project to unmask and prosecute federal agents. Show me their crimes. Show me one crime. I would love to see it. Show me where ICE has committed a crime. These Democrats are going all around the country claiming that ICE is committing crimes. Show me, there's got to be video. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has a phone. So I'm assuming there is video of these ICE agents committing crimes. Because remember, they said that you had to wear a mask to prevent yourself from being killed by COVID because of all the dead bodies everywhere. Oh, there weren't any. They're saying that, it's so funny. It's weird. It's going to shock Aaron. It's going to shock Brent and everybody watching. What's weird is, what is it, Aaron? October 24th?
Yes.
So it's October 24th, and it's really odd. The climate's changing. You know what's really weird is it's changed I'm 57. It's changed my entire life right now every year. But the Democrats tell you that this is an existential threat to life. They tell you the border's open when it's closed. They tell you that men can be women and need to be inflicted into women's restrooms and locker rooms so they can leer at women undressing, and twerk their taped up penises in 8-year-olds' faces in trans drag shows. That's Democrats. They abort 2 million Americans a year, 40 million worldwide that we know of. It's a great group of people, isn't it? And now they want to prosecute federal agents for doing what? Show me one crime. I mean, I would love to see it because I know they tell us that the greatest existential threat to America is white supremacist terrorism, and I've yet to find a video of any white supremacist terrorism. I've yet to see a Democrat show a video of any white. I mean, imagine you're a Democrat, and if you're like me right now, I'd be a Republican, and I'm saying, you know what, all these EBT people are out there, these Snap people on Snap, are out there putting out these violent videos. And we could show you thousands. Mm-hmm. We said on this podcast, all these Democrats are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and I could show you thousands. I could show you thousands of abortion videos. I could show you thousands of illegals crossing the border. Everything that we espouse, we have video footage of, and not one thing they espouse do they have video footage of. That's kind of odd, isn't it?
Yeah,
but everybody agree.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Democrat, don't you question yourself? When everything you espouse is not true and there's no evidence of it whatsoever, Trump's a Nazi. Show me one Nazi feature of Donald J. Trump. I'd love to see it. He's supporting illegals. How's that a Nazi feature? That's not what Hitler did. Show me videos of Hitler deporting illegals. I mean, he didn't. The only people that have Nazi features or characteristics would be Democrats, confiscating guns, COVID camps, medical experimentation on their communities, various other things that we could name. Very, very anti-Semitic, obviously on the left, and so it's kind of strange. And that whole anti-Semitic thing is so odd. The whole Jewish realm is so odd how that works. There's so many tributaries to that river, isn't it? I mean, it's so odd. It really is. It really is odd how it all works, because you'll have people on the left who are vehemently anti-Jewish and pro-Palestinian, but then you have like the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which is allegedly fighting anti-Semitism, is Democrat. And you have in the UK right now, and in France with Macron and Keir Starmer are recognizing the Palestinian state. They're doing that, and then also creating like Jew-free zones. But they're supported by Jews. Can somebody help me with this stuff? I mean, it's so odd to me because to me, it's let your yes be yes, your no be no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one. It's Matthew 5:37, or it's Revelation 3:15 and 16. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I'll spew thee out of my mouth. I just think aren't you supposed to know what you're talking about? Aren't you supposed to choose sides? Aren't you supposed to choose God over evil? I don't know. It's just crazy, isn't it? Instead of just kind of being politically expedient every second of the day and lying through your face. Let's go to the next one. Carly Bonet video. Here's Fat Boy, JB Pritzker again. Tried to lie to Brett Baird about the Chicago murder rate. Kind of an old video, but I got to talk about it. Play it for me.
Does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed, our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you is when you want to fight crime. Look, you can pull statistics up. I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Brett, and you got to hear this, very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption. We've invested in police. I've added more state police than any governor in quite a long time. It's very important that we do both of those things and more to invest in our communities so that we bring crime down. We're doing that. You know who's doing the opposite? Donald Trump. That's not what we need.
If you hear from your constituents, your residents, and they say, ask for help. If help is being offered, ask for help.
I have. And I do. And I regularly say, you've heard me, anybody that's listened to me has heard me say, and I believe this is absolutely necessary. Bring us FBI. We want to go after the gang members. Bring us DEA. We'd like to get more drugs off the streets. Fentanyl is killing too many people in Illinois. I want to point out, by the way, in the state of Illinois, we are 19th safest. I'd like to be number 1 or number 2 safest. 19th safest, not 50th, not.
So let's go back to front. So he's alleging that they're the 19th safest, though only 18 cities are more safe than Chicago. I ate lunch with 2 residents of Chicago yesterday that live in Chicago right now. That's not the case. I asked them, because I'm a foodie, so I'm always fascinated about where do you go out to eat, you know? What are your favorite hangout spots? They said, well, pre-crime or now. Because they don't go anywhere now. They don't even go into the city of Chicago. They live in the outskirts of Chicago. They don't even go in the city anymore because their favorite hangouts are too crime and drug ridden for them to go to anymore. And these are healthy, vibrant people. There's nothing. It's not like that. So that just shows you everything J.B. Pritzker is saying is wrong. Now, who created that they were the 19th safest city? He did, or Democrats did. I mean, it's very simple. Every statistic that you hear is a lie coming from the left. Everyone, they just create the statistics. And I'm going to break this down for you. So he says, he's asked point blank, you are the murder capital of the United States, the number 1 murder rate in Chicago. And Aaron, you help me. Brent, you help me. Anybody online, you help me. You are number 1 in murders per capita in the United States of America. And he says, no, we're 30th. Did he say anything different than that? No. He said, no, we are not even in the top 30. Does that say that? Is that the truth? I mean, this right here is the governor of the state of Illinois, Fat Boy Pritzker. I mean, you know you're number 1 in murders in the country. You know you are number 1 in murders in the country. You know you are. And he just bold-faced lies, and what he's using is their violent crime rate that he says has been cut in half. Then he says, oh gosh, there's so many parallels to this. I mean, I don't mean to, I guess got to show you how they lie. Remember they came out and said that the COVID vax was FDA approved. Remember? Because in order for them to vaccinate the military, it has to be FDA approved, Food and Drug Administration approved, right? Of course, the ethics board for the FDA was run by Fauci's wife. But anyway.
Yeah.
So they said that it was FDA approved. Well, what was FDA approved was Comirnaty, which is yet to be injected in a single American. So the drug that they actually gave, because they like to operate in these vast generalities and say the vaccine was approved. No, a vaccine was approved. And then they said the vaccine was approved. See how they play it? It's all lies. It's all lies. That's why every single military member has been vaccinated. You have a class action lawsuit against the DOD. And you're like, Trump runs the DOD. It doesn't matter. Go get your money. But anyway, so I digress. So it's the exact same thing here. He's asked point blank, are you number 1 per capita in murders in the United States of America? Yes. In Chicago, yes, they are. They are. And he says, no, we're not even in the top 30th because he says that their violent crime rate is not in the top 30, which is a bold-faced lie. But we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, so he conflates right away violent crime rate with murders. How many of us know that there's a lot more violent crimes than murders? So if you may not be in the top 10 in murders and be number 1 in murders. I mean, you can not be in the top 10 for violent crime rate, but still be number 1 in murders because the accumulation of all the other crimes. So he lies right off the bat, just absolute lies. And even Democrats, I guess, sit and watch that and clap like seals. Don't you realize you're just lying? You're just lying for what end? If you have to lie to usher in your agenda, how great is your agenda? You should be able to. It's just like Mike Davis said on Steve Bannon today. If you really believe in the 2020 election results, I'm talking 2020, not 2024, because yes, we need to go after 2020. That was where the big time corruption was. If you believe that, then why wouldn't you just simply not fight it? If you believe that, if you want to audit Foundation Church, no problem at all. Audit it. I don't care. I have absolutely nothing to hide.
Yep.
I found out like 2 days ago that I take $80,000, $100,000 less than most pastors of a church this size.
Yep.
So go ahead, audit it. I don't really care. I have nothing to hide whatsoever. But anyway, so why wouldn't you just simply audit it? But anyway, so back to Pritzker. So he says that they're not even in the top 30, but he's not talking about murder rates. He's actually talking about violent crime rate, but he knows he's lying. You're just a disgusting little fat boy. And again, so let's break down. So right there it is. By the way, I'm looking at it. With the exception of Philadelphia, also run by, of course, all Democrats, Democrat governor, Democrat mayor, Democrat police chief, Democrat AG, Democrat district attorney, Krasner in Philadelphia. Kim Fox was in Chicago. I don't know who it is now. But anyway, it's not even close. Can we look at this here? That's per 100,000 people. So if you, out of 100,000 people in Chicago, there 17 of them are killed. In LA, in San Diego, it's 2.
Yeah.
LA 6. It's not even close.
That's crazy.
Phoenix is 8. Dallas is rough. Houston is rough, 13. But the only one that's even remote, New York City's 4.
Yeah.
And so in Philadelphia is the only one that's even remotely close. That's how inept J.B. Pritzker is. Absolutely inept. So he knows he's lying. But who came up with, remember he said that their murders have been cut in half. So your murders have been cut in half and you're still leading all other cities? Imagine how bad it would have been. So I guess it would have been. So he's telling us that what it used to be is 35 per 100,000. That's what it used to be. And you're bragging about that. But by the way, it's completely erroneous. Why is that? Because of what we found out in Washington, D.C., which we've already talked about here on the podcast numerous times. This all has to do with UCR statistics, Uniform Crime Report, which is put out by the FBI. Now, strangely, under the Biden administration in 2022, the UCR rules changed. The UCR rules changed to the point where they no longer required police jurisdictions to report their crime. Now, why would anybody do that? It's just like you see on the map there. Just leave this map up for me. I love having it on there. You see New York, you see California. Those are the #1 abortion hubs on the planet. Right there. Now, when you hear America has 1 million abortions a year, that's what you hear, right? 440,000 in the black community and all the rest of them white people or Hispanic people. So you hear that all the time, right? Now, that's without New York and California reporting.
Yep.
Everyone practicing evil hates light, does not come to light, lest their deeds be exposed. Why would you not report it if you're proud of abortions? I'm just curious. If abortion is always okay, why does the left always say, well, I don't really agree with it, in the last trimester, for the ones that aren't really monstrous? Now, you're equally as monstrous, but you're just not as out front about it. So, why, if abortion's good, then why wouldn't it be good 10 minutes prior to birth? Isn't that the same exact person that started 9 months before that? There's no difference, right? Why are you obfuscating? Same thing here. So back to the UCR. So under the Biden administration, jurisdictions, every single city you see on this map is run by a Democrat. Why is it that they no longer have to report their statistics to the UCR? Now it was 44% of police jurisdictions no longer report their crime. And then we found out in DC, so Joe Biden could say, crime is down 9%. And you just do the math in your mind. He's claiming crime is down 9%, but 44% aren't actually reporting it. So crime is actually up 35%.
Right.
And we all know that's exactly what's happened because we see the videos. You may not live in a crime-ridden area, but the people who do live in crime-ridden areas, Republican or Democrat, are all saying crime is through the roof. So they no longer report their crime. And we saw in D.C. that they're not only not reporting their crime, they're changing calls on scene. So they go to a let's just say a home invasion, and they change it to a theft. Because home invasion or burglary, you have to have a crime therein. Well, just take away you don't want to call it a home invasion. There was a home invasion. Yes, there was kids there and everything else. But they came in and they stole the jewelry. So it was just theft. So now they just changed it to a theft, which is either a low-grade felony or a misdemeanor. That's exactly what J.B. Pritzker has done. Because they're lying, disingenuous, repulsive, soulless, moralist human beings. That's who he is. A disgusting human being. And he walks around with his, Aaron said this is where I miss cussing, with his poop-eating grin. And I mean, and they walk around thinking they have more virtue than people like you and me. And all they do is do the devil's bidding and lie every day because the devil is the father of lies. All right, let's move on. All right, Wall Street Apes video. The two people, why does this always happen in Tim Walz's Minnesota? He's setting records. He's setting records everywhere. The Wall Street Apes video, the two people who pled guilty to help register fake voters in Minnesota are likely tied to Ilhan Omar Somalian organization. Play it for me.
In with new allegations in a Minnesota voter fraud case that first came to light this summer. Two people pleaded guilty in federal court to being paid to help register voters. In all, 500 to 600 fraudulent voter registration applications were submitted to election officials in offices in 13 Minnesota counties.
Hi there, Frank. It was some sharp election workers in Carver County who realized the names and addresses on the voter registration forms did not match with any county residents. Prosecutors charged two people with one count each of voter registration fraud. According to the charging documents, the two were paid by an unnamed foundation to help register voters. The two defendants pled guilty this summer and have since moved out of state. The scope of the 2-year FBI and state investigation was not previously known.
And it's very significant that they said today it was 13 counties, between 500 and 600 fake voter registrations. And that's just from two of the independent contractors that worked with this group.
The investigation involves scouring hundreds of records.
On guidance from the FBI, the voter registration applications were mailed directly to the election lead, and instructions were shared to use gloves when handling the forms.
In testimony before the committee, Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon says the system designed to catch voter fraud worked.
This is a case about individuals who conspired to submit false voter registration applications. This is not a case about fraudulent votes. And this is ultimately a case of the system working.
How many were in the system is challenged.
Republican Committee Chair Kristen Robbins, who is running for governor, says she has additional concerns that the unnamed foundation that paid the two workers is funded by state taxpayer dollars.
99% of their budget comes from state grants. So this is a group that the state is funding and that then went out and did these voter registrations.
Now, the hearing left a lot of people, including us, with a lot of questions that were not answered. One of the big ones, the 12 other counties where the fraud was discovered are not being named.
Now, I was having this discussion with Aaron while we were watching this video. I don't do these videos, don't show these videos very often because I'll just be honest with you, they bore me. But I could actually devote a week of these shows. This is happening all over the country. And it's always Democrats. Every single time. It's never Republicans, not once. I mean, again, if you're a Democrat, don't you actually say, what's the real virtue of my party? I do. I go, okay, I'm heavily involved here at Foundation Church, right? So I go, what is the virtue of the church? Legitimate. What is the virtue? Do we have like liars working here? I mean, what, you know, I'm not, of course, all of a sudden falling short. I'm just saying that I'm not saying everybody's perfect. I'm just like, but I go, overall, it's a virtuous place. I go to the Republican, I look at the Republican platform, I go, it's a very virtuous platform. And yes, the Republican Party is riddled with cowards, but I'm like, you know what? We're never cheating in elections. Has anybody ever noticed that? If you're a Democrat, don't you notice that every single voter fraud scheme is you? Don't you notice that it's your supporters that loot all the stores? Don't you know that it's your supporters right now that are threatening violence if they don't get their welfare SNAP benefits? Don't you know that BLM violence is your party? Antifa violence is your party? Violence on the unborn is your party? Trans violence is your party? Lopping off penises, testicles, and breasts is your party? An open southern border is your party? Obama receiving a Nobel Peace Prize when he bombs 8 countries is your party? You don't realize that? I mean, it's just curious. I mean, for me, I'd be like, oh, crap, I'm out. I mean, it doesn't take me anything to be out. I was talking to my daughter about dating the other night. And I'm just like, you know, when I was dating, if I found like a specific flaw, you know, I'm out. Now,
yeah.
I mean, it's over. I'll probably shut down in the middle of the night. She'll be asking, why are you so quiet? And that's the last she'll ever heard of me again.
Ghosted
into oblivion until she calls me out, leaves it on my machine that she's breaking up with me. After I've already dated 2 other women while she was thinking we're still going out.
Dinner and a movie.
That's right. It's always a test. I had the same test. It was actually Applebee's. Applebee's and a movie. That's all there was around here at that time. So, I mean, that's the thing, because I haven't dated anybody because I got married in 1996. But anyway, so I'm just like, you know, that's the whole thing. I'm like, you see one thing? Like, I walk in, you got cankles, I'm out. Done. I'll come in, you got a mustache, I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done. You got whiskers. Listen, if you got a maintenance, I understand. Well, hair comes in. I get it. As long as I don't know about it.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's
you
fair.
know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, that's the whole thing. You got to, if you did a cut, slice, something, as long as I don't know, I don't care. But I mean, there's certain disqualifiers. And I'm like, I'm out. So I'm just like, what was that?
I said, or if you stink.
Yeah,
Like
well,
if you
yeah,
smell.
well, that's a disqualifier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, now Aaron's sharing his disqualifiers.
Instant.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you smoke, out, whatever it is. I mean, I'm just out. So I mean, those are my things. And I don't understand if you're a Democrat and you see these things, aren't you go, I'm out? I mean, don't you? I mean, you know that it's your party that supports 47-year-old men with pot bellies with their taped up tiny little penises twerking in 8-year-olds' faces. I mean, don't you say I'm out? I mean, don't you? I don't get it. I honestly do not understand that at all. I mean, it's your party that 7 out of the last 10 mass shooters have been trans activists and the other 3 were non-binary, which makes them trans activists. Don't you go, I'm out? I would be.
Yeah.
If it was, I mean, can we all think of this logically? If it was you and me and the Republican Party was behind 47-year-old men twerking their tiny little penises in front of 8-year-old girls' face with turned on Democrat mothers watching.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say I'm out? And if you wouldn't say you're out, what kind of person are you? Yeah. I mean, if you are part of the party who is trying to change the word pedophilia to minor attracted person, don't you say, I'm out? Don't you? If you're part of the party, and number one, you have 2 representatives that are named Wiener over the last couple years, one of which now is a senator in the state of California, and you have Gavin Newsom, who advocate for lowering the criminal penalties for sodomizing 14-year-olds, don't you say I'm out? Please forward this to your Democratic Party friends. Cut and clip the specific section and forward it to your Democratic Party friends, don't you? Well, the Republicans do think, what do we do? Did anybody name it? What exactly do we do that's even in the ballpark of that level of repulsiveness? Can anybody name it? I'm just curious. Okay, I mean, that's like, there isn't any. So why is it always Tim Walz here in Minnesota? So there's Timmy Walz with an election fraud scheme, which, by the way, was world-renowned orbiting around Ilhan Omar's elections. Matt Christensen video, Tim Walz oversaw the largest COVID fraud scheme to date. Play it for me.
The organization was run by Somali immigrants in the Minneapolis area. They set up the organization as an umbrella group overseeing numerous subgroups that advertised their work bringing food to children in need and to apply for relief funding through federal nutrition programs overseen by the Minnesota Department of Education. Please give us millions because we have millions of lunches to make. That was the idea, except the lunches weren't getting made, at least not at that scale. Instead, these Somalis were buying luxury cars, electronics, clothing, jewelry, and way nicer boats than those crappy ones they had in Captain Phillips. And they did make a lot of money, and this time they didn't even have to do the hard or dangerous work to get it. Just fill out a couple forms with totally bogus nonsense. In 2020 and 2021, Feeding Our Future saw its federal cash flow increase over 50-fold, from about $3.4 million in 2019 to almost $200 million in 2021. But surely for all that money, there must have been some effort to make a paper trail to demonstrate proper use, right? Well, kinda. Feeding Our Future at least tried to cover tracks, but the problem is no effort may have actually been more credible. They said, yeah, we're feeding kids, just check our list of all the kids we feed, but the list was just copy-pasted from all the names at listofrandomnames.com. And again, they did that for multiple years. This was not just a got away with it once type thing. That sort of flimsy non-authentication was good for hundreds of millions of federal dollars ongoing over an extended period of time. And after getting exposed, by the way, the technicians at listofrandomnames.com have pledged to improve their product. The site is currently offline, but they will be back soon with an upgrade. And I'm sure they will create a reliable product to trick the feds once again. And the scam wasn't even over because the scammers then tried to evade justice with yet another scam.
Let's tie all of this to the Democratic Party. Now, both of these fraud schemes, one of them election fraud and one of them just financial fraud using COVID as a launching pad, both of them were committed by Somalians. Ilhan Omar's people. She's so proud of. She says she's actually a representative of Somalia, not the United States, and proud of that and publicly has stated that. And is representing Somali interests, not the interests of the United States, even though she swore to uphold and defend the Constitution of America that she swore on a Koran. So anyway.
Exactly.
So all these people are Somalians. Who brings them in? A Democratic Party. How can you be a Democrat? How in the world can you be a Democrat? And why is it that Tim Walz just oversees all this? Because this is going back to a scheme I was already aware of. Tim Walz knew about all this, but was afraid to address it Keir Starmer style because he was afraid of being called anti-Somalian, anti-immigrant, or whatever it may be. And plus, it's kind of odd, isn't it? Odd that Tim Walz isn't just involved in the destruction of America, where he's most likely a Chinese asset. It's kind of weird, isn't it? He's really allowing voter fraud, mass financial fraud in his own country, and he advocates for these people to be illegally migrated into our country. And this story is hysterical, is it not? Where in 2019, this illustrious organization, this Feed the Children organization, I forgot the name of it, this Feed the Children organization got $3.4 million in 2019. Stacey Abrams, the year before in her organization, in 2022, got $100. And in 2023, 2023 got $100 in her organization. Feeding Our Future, thank you, Aaron. That's the Somali one here in Minnesota.
Yep.
Stacey Abrams' organization in 2023 got $100 total contributed to her organization. Wow. And in 2024, 1 month before Biden left office, she got $2 billion. That's strange, isn't it?
Man.
We all agree? Well, same thing here. Feed Our Children, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Feeding Our Children.
Feeding Our Future.
Feeding Our Future. Feeding Our Future. That's just beautiful, isn't it? Which, by the way, you and I pay for that. You're like, no, I guarantee you, it's NGOs. And you're like, the other one was state funds. No, I guarantee it wasn't state funds. It was state funds that have been allocated from NGOs.
Yeah.
And from the federal government. And then they call them state funds so they can say it's not federal money. Just like Medi-Cal is the same way. But anyway, so 2019, they get $3.4 million of NGO money, and all of that, $3.4 million, every single dollar of it went to the people running the organization, Feed Our Future. Not one sandwich was ever made. Now, because of the existential threat to all of our lives, where, you got Brett's old church, they got to be 6 feet apart and closed and push and pimp vaccinations and everything else. In this COVID emergency, for that all the churches bent over for, grabbed their ankles or grabbed underneath their feet or actually grabbed their butt cheeks for the turkey baster. So this existential threat comes along. Now we really got to feed our future, because it goes from 2019, where they got 3.4 million, to 200 million in 2021. And not one dime went to feeding kids. Now, they said, don't worry about it. Here's the list of names of all the kids that we are feeding, which came from listofrandomnames.com. All under the nose of, don't you kind of notice it, little tampon Timmy? That you have a $200 million budget problem, but you don't want to be called Islamophobic.
No.
You don't want to be called a racist. And not only that, but this is actually what Tim wants. He wants the destruction of America. Again, what would the country be like without Tim Walz here? He needs to just go ahead and migrate to his homeland of Beijing, China. All right, let's move on to other stuff here. Here's some great financial conspiracy stuff, and I absolutely love it because it's not conspiracy. It's actually true. All right, Geiger Capital video, 1 million seconds. Here's Jerome Powell on the debt just to launch this thing. Play it for me.
The U.S. is on an unsustainable fiscal path. The U.S. federal government's on an unsustainable fiscal path, and that just means that the debt is growing faster than the economy.
I have the sense this worries you very much.
Over the long run, of course it does. You know, we're borrowing from future generations. It's time for us to get back to putting a priority on fiscal sustainability, and sooner is better than later.
All right, now this, Aaron, can you side by side that right there, right as you got it? This is the man here, this is Jerome Powell, who hates Donald Trump, who says that we need to get back to, and he says sooner better than later, fiscal sustainability, because our current path is unsustainable, but yet printed $4 billion, which adds to our national debt, to remodel the federal building, with how that the Fed building, $4 billion, $4 billion for a building. I mean, how big is this building? Is it the size of Detroit? I mean, and again, I know I've talked about this ad nauseum, but you're talking about here you are espousing for fiscal sustainability, fiscal accountability, fiscal responsibility, and you yourself do a remodel for $4 billion, and we get lost in the numbers now because we live in this digital world where we're $38 trillion in debt now. And as Aaron says in his black pill way, aren't you glad Trump won? Because nothing has changed when it comes to the debt. There it is. Okay, now remember what I said. Aaron will testify to this. Brent, if he was here on that night, Brent, we're treating as a new person right now. But anyway, remember I said, I will pull back on what I said about the big, beautiful bill. Pull back, clean CR. Okay, the clean CR is this. And everybody was passed the clean CR. Nobody should have even proffered the clean CR. You should have taken this continuing resolution and cut it in half. That clean CR adds $2 trillion to the debt by next October. Everybody knows that, right? And Chuck Schumer wants it to add up to add another $1.7 trillion onto that. And therefore, we would be at $3.7 trillion added to the debt. So he can provide Medicaid and Medicare for illegals and for people who don't want to work. So that's where we are. This is what the experts bring us. All right? That's what the experts bring. People like this right here. This is an expert. This is the guy. You have to qualify to run the Fed. Listen, I could run the Fed better than Jerome Powell.
True.
And I certainly have no idea. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'd run it better than that. I mean, what kind of expertise do you have to have as a Republican or a Democrat, as a politician or a member of the private Fed, launched in 1913, along with income tax and the FBI and every other wonderful thing, World Bank and everything else. But anyway, I digress. And what kind of expertise do you have to run us into $38 trillion worth of debt? And I love Trump, but nothing's changed. And that leads into Aaron doesn't call himself black pilled. He calls himself black pill with red sprinkles. He's got red sprinkles. He's got sprinkles. So he's not really wholeheartedly black pilled because Aaron still has hope. But that's what makes people black pilled. Nothing's changed with $38 trillion of debt. 10 months in, we could be less. We don't have to have added to that at all. You have to take a stand. Yes, people will hate you. Yes, you will have to fire 2 million out of the 4 million people that are working for the federal government. They don't do anything anyway. They don't even show up for work. 6% of the workforce shows up for work prior to Donald Trump. Shows up for work. So imagine you're here espousing the virtues, and you are actually advocating for fiscal responsibility when you spend $4 billion on a renovation of a few-story building, I'm assuming. I've never seen, I don't know how big the Fed is, but since you can build Reliant Stadium in downtown freaking Las Vegas for $2 billion, I'm assuming you could renovate the Fed building for less than $4 billion. And by the way, why does it need to be renovated at all? It's about to fall down? No. So it doesn't need to be renovated. So just imagine the galactic levels of bourgeois thinking. That you need $4 billion to renovate that? $4 billion? It can't even, it's built out of concrete stone. It's never going to fall anyway. It doesn't need to be renovated. All right, so let's look at this whole financial scam. Everything, by the way, what it is you and I are all put into, Aaron said this last night, I think we're all just in the Matrix. Yeah. That we're all just in a simulation. And I'm like, I don't think we're all in a simulation, but we're in a game that we cannot win. That is the thing. It's just like right now, 602 people watching right now. Why is that? I have 30,000 followers on Facebook. I have 7,000 followers on Twitter. Nobody's watching. Because I'm shadow banned everywhere. I cannot gain ground. By the way, everybody get a Twitter account and share me on Twitter, because I don't know, you can't really share effectively on Rumble. And Elon at least will not, if I get a certain amount of followers, or maybe we'll create a different account on Twitter called just the TLP podcast instead of Tom Laipply or whatever. But follow me on Twitter, create a Twitter account, follow me on Twitter, and then like and share. We need to grow this podcast. And we just keep getting smashed. And then Rumble changes their algorithm, takes me from 1,100 viewers down to 600 because they changed their algorithm. Yep. So anyway, it's just a game that you cannot win. And the financial system now with God, all things are possible, Mark 10:27. With men, it isn't possible. Not with God. With God, all things are possible. So we can overcome financially via God's provision. But we're in a game, especially social media or media, you cannot win unless you are a chosen few. But anyway, so we're just in a game designed for us to lose. Doesn't mean we're going to lose. In Christ, you can do all things. But just pretend for a moment that Christ isn't involved in your life. You can't win. Again, there's always exceptions to the rules but it's just a system designed for you not to win. So Peter St. Ange video, regional banks crash on fears of hundreds of billions of hidden losses in fraudulent loans. Play it for me.
Regional bank stocks crashed last week. The trigger was the bankruptcy of First Brands, an apparent $6 billion Ponzi scheme that bought up boring car parts makers, borrowed heavily against them, and blew up with at least $2.5 billion vanished, calling into question First Brands' other $10 billion of loans. The blow-up sent investment bank Jefferies crashing 9% in a single day, and it follows another automaker that blew up last month with a $170 million hole. Meanwhile, separate disclosures from a pair of large regionals piled on. Zions Bancorp fell nearly 20% after announcing it discovered two big commercial loans with, quote, apparent misrepresentations. Western Alliance fell 11% in a single day after disclosing it is suing a major borrowing for fraud. Together, these three account for nearly $250 billion in assets. They took the entire regional banking industry down 6% in a single day, as investors wonder if anybody's actually looking at these loans, or do they just cut checks to anybody they sue? Or as J.P. Morgan's Jamie Dimon put it, quote, when you see one cockroach, there are probably more. Regional banks were already sitting on landmines in the crashing commercial real estate sector, with office vacancy rates hitting a record 20%. Pre-pandemic, it was 12%. According to Morgan Stanley, there's 18 years of supply sitting empty for Class A offices and 23 years for lower-grade Class B. Meanwhile, 7% of commercial real estate is in delinquency, despite banks gaming it with so-called extend and pretend, where the bank keeps lending new money to failed projects to make the loan appear healthy. Fraud, if you do it, standard practice in banking. Now, this matters because commercial real estate makes up nearly 44% of regional bank assets, so if the industrial loans are also garbage, there is not much left. It's worth remembering regional banks nearly imploded just 2 years ago with a cascade of bank failures, starting with Silicon Valley Bank, that actually exceeded the 2008 crisis until the Fed and Treasury stepped in with a series of bailouts. These included $30 billion in write-offs taxed from your bank account, $200 billion in sweetheart loans against fictitious asset values, and Janet Yellen promising to cover $20 trillion of deposits with just $100 billion at the FDIC, 200-to-1 leverage, hedge funds eat your heart out. So what's next, brought to you by I Trust Capital. Regional banks may be in dire straits and some could go bust, but it will not take down the economy for the simple reason that banks used the 2008 crisis to institutionalize bailouts, what I call pre-bailouts. That's how we got 2023. Banks no longer have to go through the humiliation of asking for bailouts. They get them without raising a finger, fictitious asset loans and all. Bailouts make banks risky, and regionals now have the cockroaches to prove it. So expect more bad loans and expect a whole lot more taxpayer bailouts. Read the rest with charts and...
So there you go. So how can they possibly take these risks of making these loans that there's a very small probability or a high probability that they will not be paid back? Why would they make this loans? Because there is no chance to take. If you know you're going to be bailed out, then what risk is there? And they don't even have to ask anymore. It's designated to them. Aaron, who pays for that?
Us.
We do. 38. Aaron, go back to the debt clock if you can. There it is. I mean, there it is.
Yay.
Now they're all getting rich. And your grandchildren are going to be living in a 15-minute city in an 800-foot cubicle townhouse.
Yeah.
With 57 vaccinations, and they'll live just about 40 years of servitude. That's what they want. Yes, they want to kill us all in 1984. It is that way. You are the carbon they want to get rid of. So if you're just wondering why it is they could take these chances, because you're a CEO of a bank, and you're like, well, some of these banks are going out of business. I'll get to that in a second. So you're just like, there has to be some risk. Well, not really. But anyway, so you're like, you're a CEO of a bank, and you're like, you're losing money. It doesn't matter. You get a percentage of the bailout money, and then when your bank closes, you're the CEO, because nobody gives a crap. Okay, you need to, please understand this. Nobody gives a crap about their underlings. It's all about the bourgeois, globalist, leftist, elitists. The people running the banking system are certainly not right-wingers. So anyway, when their banks close, you get a $30 million buyout and go home. And then they get another job working for the federal government. Yeah. That's what happens every time. That is the system that we live in. That is the way that it is. So there is no risk. You're like, it's risk to the line item and the line employees. Yes. But they don't give a crap about that. They're Democrats. They care about their own bourgeois needs, their own fiscal prosperity. They care about their own fame. That's all they care about. And they just vacillate between the federal government and running banks or whatever else they do, or running NGOs. And the NGO goes out, but on the way out of business of the NGO, they get their $30 million buyout. And then who's paying for those buyouts?
We are.
Yeah, there it is. Right there. See it? Right there. Let's play the game, shall we? Because just watch. See, we're 38 trillion, 27 billion, $984 million in debt right now. Let's see how long it takes for us to spend $1 million. Start at the 6. There it is right there. So the next time it turns 6, let's see how long it takes. It's going to have to take at least a couple minutes for us to spend $1 million. Let's see. 1. Here comes the 1. Here comes the 2. It won't be long until there's another $100,000. There's another $100,000. There's another $100,000 that we're spending, and there it is. So about 22 seconds. Jeez. We just spent $1 million in 22 seconds so that corporate banks can be bailed out by you and I. And what's so great about it? How many of you believe? You can just leave this up here. I'm not being distracted by it right now. How many of you believe that, you know what, your money is safe in the bank? You believe it? But you're FDIC insured.
Oh.
Right? Well, how much is in banks? Can you guess? $20 trillion in assets, banks. And it's backed up by a $100 billion insurance policy. That's fact.
Wait, that doesn't math.
That's Janet Yellen.
Yeah.
That's a fact. It's right there, Peter. Peter St. Onge is not to be trifled with. Okay, that's exactly the truth. There's $20 trillion worth of assets in banks, and it's backed up by a $100 billion FDIC insurance package. So if the banks go under, you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
But don't worry, the people who own the banks will.
It's true.
You should feel good about that.
Yeah.
That you will lose everything. But the people, so if you're sitting right now and you have all of your business, by the way, we do. We have it. I mean, Foundation Church brings in about $4 million a year. And it goes in and out of banks all the time. You know, I mean, if we lost that all, we wouldn't, if we lost our, money that was in there, God would come through. But I'm just saying in a regular business sense, we wouldn't be able to pay our bills either. I understand. And I don't have a lot of cash. I have a whole lot of investments. But I'm just saying $20 trillion of assets is backed up by $100 billion. And that's what the FDIC is worth. So when you see FDIC insuring the bank, understand, I don't want to be gross. They're being fiscally raped.
Yeah.
It's all lies. Everything you see, the greatness of America, there was a dream that was Rome. There was a dream that was the Republic of the United States of America, the democratic, constitutional, federalist republic. There was a dream, but it's long gone. And it's all lies, and it's crony capitalistic lies. The solution to crony capitalism is not communism. The solution to to corrupt capitalism, crony capitalism, is prosecuting the criminals. That's what that is, but nobody ever does it. They just print more money. Jerome Powell's a criminal. Most politicians are criminals. They print money for a living. That's what they do. And they print the money, send it to an NGO that pays their wife. That's what they do. Or they end up running the NGO that they funded with billions of dollars. And you and I are left with this. While they're jetting off to the Bahamas, espousing the virtues of climate change legislation. On to the next one. All right, let's see. Oh, and one last thing on that. Just one last thing. You're like, well, some of the banks closed. Well, I told you that doesn't affect the CEOs. They get their jobs and they get their bailouts. It's all a consolidation agenda because they want 6 banks. 6 banks. I can't ever remember all the names. JP Morgan.
Wells Fargo.
Bank of America. There's 6 of them. That's what they want. Because if you have 6 banks, they're very easily controlled via the Gates quantum dot tattoo technology, where you'll only be able to bank if you have the proper mark on your right hand or on your forehead, as well end up where it will end up eventually, right out of Revelation 3:16, 17, 18. But it'll start off with QR code on your phone. Thank you, Aaron. Here's the 6 banks they want: JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, US Bank, and Goldman Sachs. Those are the ones they want. All run by leftists, all part of the IMF, heavily influenced by London and by the Jewish lobby.
Yep.
That's fact.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. Okay, well, just look into it then. All right. I don't have time. I mean, so I can't believe it's already 10:12 because I've got to show you a couple more things. But anyway, I got to get off it. The consolidation agenda is what you're seeing happening. They want 6 banks, so it's very easy. Again, they want to leverage you into one world commerce system with a single access point to all commerce controlled by bourgeois leftists. That's what they want. And it's very easy to control your life if you could only get money out of 6 banks or store money at 6 banks. Very easy then. Deep dive into that, but it's a 30-minute dissertation. Brett Pike video. There was no federal income tax for 137 years. Play it for me.
Why aren't schools teaching that there was no federal income tax the first 137 years America was a country? Because there was no legal federal income tax between 1776 until 1913 when they amended or changed the U.S. Constitution. They imposed an income tax for 12 years during the Civil War and in 1894 and 1895, but that was found unconstitutional. It was in the Supreme Court case Pollock v. Farmers Loan and Trust Company, and they struck down the federal income tax. And it remained unconstitutional for another 17 years until 1913 when they passed the 16th Amendment and changed the Constitution. And it has been a little over 120 years since they did that, which means there was no legal federal income tax for the majority of American history. People think that all of these taxes, all of this government intrusion into our lives is the norm, but it is not the norm. This is the norm. This is 1776, and the reason America was the manufacturing center of the world in 1912. America had the largest and most prosperous middle class in the history of the world. American steel, American oil, American automotive. But in 1913, they changed the Constitution, which was the same year that they created a national bank. So right at the same time as they gave the government the ability to reach into our pockets and take our money, they also gave a small group of powerful bankers a monopoly over the printing of the dollar. And they print money out of thin air. They lend the money that they printed to the government, and the government agrees to pay them back with interest, using the money that they take from us. And that is why the dollar has been so devalued. That is why you can't afford a house. And it's why college is so expensive. Because for 137 years, America was about prosperity. And since then, it's been about whatever this is. And this is why I wrote a book on the banking system. And in my courses, we learn real history. Because if our kids are going to have a fighting chance, they have to know the truth. Check out my private homeschool community. And Cubs to Bears.
So there you go, and follow him. He's obviously trying to sell his books. Great account. Brett Pike is awesome. Really good stuff. Not a yeller or a screamer like me. But anyways, let's go over 1913 just real quick. And Aaron, chime in with the ones that I forget because I never remember them all. So prior to 1913, what didn't we have? We didn't have an FBI.
Yep.
We didn't have a CIA.
Yep.
We did not have an income tax.
Yep.
We did not have a national bank.
Yep.
What am I missing?
Federal Reserve.
And we did not have the Fed.
Yep.
And prior to that, we were the leading manufacturer in the greatest economy in the history of the world with a national surplus. Now where are we? Things have gone great, haven't they? $38 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
And then right after this too, we created all of this. And then the World Bank is actually created with the Jewish lobby, owned by brothers. The National Bank in the United States was owned by the Jewish lobby. And so was the IMF, the international bank, the international, basically the International Monetary Fund, the global bank. So there you have that. And then lo and behold, then you shortly thereafter have World War I.
Yeah. Yep.
And the people who opposed the World Bank were your adversaries.
Weird.
And you know who isn't in the World Bank right now? Iran, who just got bombed.
Oh.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know who loves the World Bank? Ukraine. They've eliminated all their currency already, like the bent over people that they are. And you know who isn't part of the IMF? Russia.
Oh.
Weird. They must be bombed too. Isn't that weird?
So strange.
It's almost like you have this coagulation between the Jewish-run IMF, the London banking system, the Jekyll Island banking system, all in this together. Weird. Tom's anti-Semitic. No, it's just simply true. It's just simply true. There's nothing to argue about here. So we had all that. We were the number one manufacturers on the planet with a national surplus. Now we're $38 trillion in debt. And for 137 years, we had no Fed, no FBI, no CIA, no national bank at all, and we were doing great. And no income tax. I keep forgetting that one.
Yeah.
No income tax. None. Everybody's so used to being financially raped that we are living the living epitome of Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
We just think it's natural for 40% of our money to be stolen. And where does it go?
Yay.
I mean, I just want you to know, I'll just use Brent as an example. He's our working guy. I just want you to know that Brent, Monday and Tuesday, you're working for the Fed.
Yeah.
But you get all the benefits from them. And by the way, you get all the benefits that you get from the Fed.
Many.
And Aaron, you too.
Yeah. Yep.
So just, remember like Wednesdays where you work like a freaking dog?
Yeah.
It's all for free.
Yeah. Good. Good. Happy.
All that stuff. It just is. And Aaron works hard every week, but I'm just saying Monday, Tuesday belongs to them.
It's free.
Monday, Tuesday, and really part of Wednesday. Yeah. Just so you know.
Yeah, slave labor.
It's gone. And by the way, I'm the same way. So like when Brett and I were both cops and we used to get, I'm sure you had like, what do you call it? Direct deposit. So you'd look at your, you never actually touch cash anymore. That's part of that system too. Yeah, but anyway.
Half the paycheck.
Yeah. You look at it and you look at that horrible little 4-letter word on there called FICA.
Yeah.
Where you just saw 20% of your money gone. Well, don't worry, Aaron, don't worry.
Yay.
That's where I went. Isn't that great? But you got all the benefits from it.
True.
Remember your free house like you get in like a lot of these wretched, horrible countries that we talk about, like Saudi Arabia and all these horrible Arab countries. Well, they all have no income tax and they all get free houses. And I'm not even advocating for that. I'm certainly advocating for no income tax. I'm not advocating for free houses, but it's kind of weird how all that works, isn't it? 137 years without any of these things and 120 years with them, and the 120 years is where we are now.
Yeah.
With that. That's just the facts right there. The facts. You can argue, Tom saying, I'm not anti-Semitic at all. I hate the Islamic faith. Hate it. So I'm certainly not anti-Semitic. I just speak the truth about the Jewish lobby. That's a fact. That's just the way that it is. All right, here's another one. Mr. Red Pill's video. $500 trillion network. Who had that? Play it for me.
How rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild? Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschilds' secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. Besides their many castles, palace mansions, wineries, racehorses, and exotic resorts, the Rothschilds bought Reuters in the 1800s. Reuters then bought the Associated Press, which selects and delivers the same news stories to the entire world, day after day. They have controlling interest in 3 major television networks and easily avoid media attention since they own it. Until recently, they owned and operated England's Royal Mint and continue to be the gold agent for the Bank of England, which they also direct. They control the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, where 30 to 42 million ounces of gold worth over $11 billion are traded daily. The Rothschilds earn millions weekly just on transaction fees alone. They also fix the world price of gold on a daily basis and profit from its ups and downs. Over the centuries, the Rothschilds have amassed trillions of dollars worth of gold bullion in their subterranean vaults and have cornered the world's gold supply. They own controlling interest in the world's largest oil company, Royal Dutch Shell. They operate phony charities and offshore banking services where the wealth of the black nobility in the Vatican is hidden in secret accounts at Rothschild Swiss banks, trusts, and holding companies. Although Evelyn Rothschild looks like a harmless gray-haired old man, make no mistake about it, Rothschild and his ancestors have handpicked presidents, crashed stock markets, bankrupted nations, orchestrated wars, and sponsored the mass murder and impoverishment of millions. The wealth hoarded by this one family alone could feed, clothe, and shelter every human being on Earth.
It's all a shell game. Richest man on earth? No. It's just a giant shell game that you and I are forced to play in. And what we need, it's never a good thing. That video speaks for itself. I'm not going to deep dive into it, but it is never a good thing when you are having to build vaults to hide and manipulate gold and currency, because basically they win on both ends. They short the stock or they invest in the stock. It's as simple as that, a very simplistic way of looking at it, but that's exactly what they do. They create the budget shortfalls, they create the problems, and they finance the solutions to their own benefit, to their own profit. It's as simple as that. Speaking of that, look at this Wall Street Apes video. BlackRock's shell company scam. Play it for me.
A few weeks ago, allegedly, BlackRock just bought 50,000 homes at $300,000 each, then sold 3 to themselves for $700K. Your neighbor's value just doubled overnight, and you can't afford to live there anymore. They're stealing the American dream because BlackRock, step one, how they do this, they identify middle-class neighborhoods with growth potential, right? Step 2, they buy hundreds of homes in cash, 20 to 30% above asking price. Imagine being that guy putting your shit on listing and it's like, oh no, we'll buy it for 30% more. I ain't saying no to that. I'm out that neighborhood. Imagine the HOA screwing you over and you're like, ha, I'm out of here. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, peace.
Step 3, regular families can't compete with unlimited corporate cash. Why? Because step 4, once they control enough inventory, they sell a few homes to shell companies that they already own. Step 5, those inflated sale prices become the new market rate. Step 6, your property taxes, and this is where it gets crazy, your property taxes triple based on these fake sales. So the family that saved for 10 years to buy their first home, outbid by a corporation with infinite money. The elderly couple who owned their home for 40 years, forced out by property taxes they can't afford. Meanwhile, and this is where all the good money comes in for them, BlackRock rents these homes back to the same families they priced out. The rent is $2,500 monthly. The former mortgage payment would have been $1,800. They created the problem.
All right, real estate agents.
So there's the outline of how BlackRock works, which BlackRock is basically the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And BlackRock now is going to run the World Economic Forum because now Larry Fink's in charge of both. Consolidation. One world order, new world order. But anyway, so that what BlackRock does is they identify a middle-class up-and-coming neighborhood. Careful, if it's one of yours. They buy, this is a recent sale, they bought 50,000 homes. They sold 3 of them at exorbitant prices. Who do they sell them to? Themselves. That in and of itself is fraud, but we're just waiting for the prosecutions. So they sell themselves the houses at exorbitant rates. So they buy them at $300,000. They sell them to themselves, 3 of them, at $700,000, which then skyrockets the taxes of everybody in the neighborhood to the place where they can no longer either afford to live there or they go ahead and sell their homes. And what happens then, you're like, well, how would they profit? Remember, they bought them at the original price. This is, you're talking about BlackRock, which is worth how many trillions. But anyway, so they buy these houses at the normal price and just sell themselves 3 of them. They bought them at $300,000, sold them at $700,000, jack up the price so nobody now can afford to buy in the neighborhood. Nobody can afford the taxes. Nobody can afford the mortgages. The mortgage now, in order to buy, would have been $1,800. Now they rent them instead at $2,500. You'll know nothing and be happy. Don't you remember? That's what they're doing worldwide. It is that evil. And it's all, again, to leverage you into a one world commerce system controlled by Beijing, the WF, London, and Washington, D.C. It's as simple as that. Washington, D.C. is ours. We can turn that all around. All right, that's it. Oh, don't forget, join us at Foundation Church this Sunday. Let's break some records at Foundation Church for online attendance. If you're living in an area, listen, if all the churches are crap in your area, they are. They're just crap. They just are. If it's not a Bible thumping, hellfire, brimstone, and promises of God, listen, we preach hellfire and brimstone, absolutely. Turn or burn, repent of your sin, and then we preach all the promises of God, that God wants you well, wealthy, prosperous, and victorious. God wants you all of those things too, but you have to turn from your sin. So you learn all that here. It's a church that's like this podcast. And if your church is like that and they were COVID caving, mask wearing, vaccine pimps and whores, don't go. Don't go. They're going to end up with a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. They'll probably end up having a service where they issue marks on your right hand or on their forehead in the name of Jesus. They'll do things in the name of Jesus that are antichrist. But anyway, don't go. Just join us online. I would never have said that 6 years ago, but I'm saying it now. Don't usher your little kids into a lukewarm, watered-down piece of crap church. Don't do it. Church that will not preach the Bible. Well, they preach verses. Yeah, they skip a bunch of verses. They hand-pick verses. Don't go to churches like that. Don't go. Join us this Sunday. Aaron will take the stage right around 10:20, and then I'll take the stage around 11 o'clock. And then I'll be preaching. So, all right, so join us this Sunday at Foundation Church. Rumble, and join us if you're anywhere close to the address. Well, it was up there, 13,000 South Tamiami Trail, Northport, Florida. If you're anywhere near that address, come and drive and come and meet me. I greet everybody after church. All right, Rumble Rants tonight. Team 419 out. I know who that is. Team 419 Outdoors. Pastor Daniel, love you. Thank you so much. $100. I know. Great T1AU, $50. Thank you so much. Love you. Appreciate you. Jules, 21 hours, another church person, love you. $10, Hefner, $10, thank you so much. Dave Souders, love you, thank you for always being there. $5. Stick around for the post game, everybody. It is awesome if I don't see you Sunday morning. See you Monday night at 9 o'clock. God bless you. God is pleased when you stand in faith, even if it's extravagant faith. Everybody's telling me I'm going to die. No, I'm not, in Jesus' name. And you're like, well, I've seen people take that stand and they fell and they died anyway. Well, they were going to die if they didn't take the stand. At least they then had a shot. And there's a whole lot of people who've taken that stand and they live. And those tumors are gone. It happens all the time.
Have you ever had a question you were too afraid to ask? Or a thought you knew everyone was thinking but no one dared to say out loud? Welcome to the Hope Hotline, where nothing's off limits and we say what others won't. Real talk, raw truth, your questions finally answered.
Thanks for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you will get a free TLP koozie. Enjoy your favorite cold drink while tuning in to our latest takes on current events. Your support keeps us going. Donate now to claim yours.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's ever been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. Help our country heal.
Bail is racist.
Bail is absolutely racist.
Do you think that bail is racist?
Yes.
And do you think that bail is a tool to oppress black and brown people?
Of course it is. It is, yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely, in many ways.
Jails are so racist.
They're so racist.
Is it racist for a judge to say, hey, you have a history of violent crime?
Yes.
And to keep them because of that reason?
Yes.
Your criminal history should not play any role whatsoever.
I don't think so, no.
Do you think that if I went to Harlem and asked them, they would say yes?
They would say yes.
Bail?
Yeah.
Like bailing people out?
Yeah.
No. Why?
You get locked up, you gotta pay bail.
Yeah.
That concept, just giving bail, is that racist?
No, I don't think bail is racist. No.
No, because money doesn't have anything to do with somebody's actions.
A consequence for everything you do.
Because everyone get locked up, and it doesn't matter what race, what religion you believe in.
I think if somebody has the ability to be bailed out, like if that's been granted to them, then why not? I don't think it has anything to do with it.
I must be crazy now. Maybe I drink too much. But when I think of you, I long to feel your touch. To whisper in your ear words that I always thought was only you would hear. If only you were mine. I wish I could go back to the very first day I saw you. I should have made my move when you looked in my eyes. 'Cause by now I know that you feel the way that I do. And I'd whisper these words as you'd lie here by my side. I love you. Please say you love me too. These 3 words that could change our lives forever. And I promise you that we will always be together.
It's the same old theme since 1916. In your head, they're still fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and they're gone. In your head, they are dying. What's in your
No, 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 no.
Hey, what are you doing?
Mikey, what are you doing?
Marshmallow. Get you that camera.
Get off my Diet Coke! Stop it!
We gotta give them.
Ah, gosh. Not again. Go right over here. Oh. Oh.
I haven't got there, but I have started going to church every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I do.
I do too. It's a bunch of people that are going to try to make their lives better. They're trying to be a better person. And they're trying to, I mean, for me at least, the place that I go to, they read and analyze passages in the Bible. I'm really interested in what these people were trying to say, because I don't think it's nothing. There's a lot of like atheists and secular people that just like to dismiss Christianity as being foolish. You know, it's just fairy tales. I hear that amongst, self-professed intelligent people. Like it's a fairy tale. I'm like, I don't know if that's true. I think there's more to it. I think it's history, but I think it's a confusing history. It's a confusing history because it was a long time ago. And it's people telling things in an oral tradition and writing things down in a language that you don't understand, in the context of a culture that you don't understand. And I think there's something to what they're saying. I don't think it's nothing.
No.
I think there's something to it, and there's a reason why it resonates with people. And Christianity in particular is the most fascinating to me because there's this one person that everybody agrees existed that somehow or another had the best plan for how human beings should interact with each other and behave, and was the best example of it, and even died in a non-violent, like it didn't even protest, died on the cross, supposedly for our sins. Like, it's a fascinating story. What does it represent, though? That's the real thing. What was that? Like, what happened? Who was Jesus Christ if it was a human being? What was that?